Hi everyone, long time no see. Sorry about that. Been keeping up with the yards and the gardens and everything. It's no makeup Thursday, no cleanup. It's wash your hair and blow it dry on the four-wheeler day. But I wanted to show you something. I got an email yesterday from someone who'd gotten the Ornate Layers dyes and wasn't able to get the results, the desired results from them. So I want to show you my cheating way of die cutting. This is how I do all my die cutting, and I just want to share that with you, and hopefully it will work for you as well as it has for me. So look, we're going to cut the Ornate, and I know that anything that's particularly detailed is very difficult to get all those little bits and pieces out. So I'm going to go through a couple of steps with you with the Big Shot, and we're going to cut these, and they're going to be perfect. Okay? I promise. So these are the lovely dies I'm talking about. And if you remember, we had cards to go with these a couple of months ago. It's the Ornate Layers dies, and I love them. I have been using them so very much. But I do know that they can be somewhat difficult to cut out if you don't have my little trick. This is the one we use, and actually still has some paper bits in it because I haven't cleaned it all out real good. But that's easy enough, and I'll show you that too. So we're going to make several cuts, and we'll just go ahead and pick this larger one here. But first, let me show you some setup of your Big Shot. So I'll set this aside. Now, if any of you has a Big Shot, which I think a lot of you do, you know it comes with a base plate and what it calls a thin die adapter. Or if you have one a couple years older than this, it'll have the tabs where you take a tab off for embossing, take another tab off for something else, or leave them all down if you want to die cut. But the newer ones come with these two plates like this for the thin die adapter for die cutting, for these thin dies. Like we're going to use now. Okay, it also comes with a couple of plates like this. And if you've done very much die cutting, and these plates really have not been used very much, but you see what horrible shape they're in every time you die cut with them. As you can see, this has been die cut right here with this particular die just a couple of times. These plates are actually fairly new and have just been used a few times. Now, I don't like these plates, and I'll show you why. So I'm going to put one down on my machine, and the table may shake a little, and I may grunt a little when I turn this because I'm standing up on a stool. Let's get a piece of paper. I'm just going to use some white paper for demonstration. So this is how it's designed to be used. You place your paper, you place your die, and then you place a top plate on it. And then you just crank it through. Okay, the camera might shake. I'll try to do it slow so it doesn't shake so bad. And I generally crank it all the way through. And I just go back because I like to just pull it back out at the same side that I put it in instead of pulling it out one end, putting it in one end and pulling it out the other. And when you take this out with these really delicate dies, it is not going to be, oops, I actually tore mine. Sorry about that. That was just my haste, not a fault of the die. Oh, this one actually worked good, but it won't be uncommon to have some of these stick in here. And actually, I want to show you one that I did earlier. As soon as I find it. Here it is. Here's one I did earlier, and this is what I expected to happen this time. You see how these are stuck in here? They'll come out, but they're a pain. I guess they're not, they are cut, so that's good. But you have to pick each one of those out. So let's get rid of this mess. And the best way to do that is, you may have seen, this is the Take Your Pick tool, but it comes with this brush that you can also put on this end. It just screws. This screws in if you want to use the pickup end. This screws in if you want to use the brush end. This is one of my best friends for die cutting. So I just take this and brush. Normally I don't brush it over my work surface. I brush it on the floor, but I want you to see what's happening. It just gets those little bits out. And I don't mind doing this. I just brush, 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 and then I do another die cut. Now sometimes you can bang it on something and they'll come out. And sometimes you have to turn it over and you see that a couple didn't. And that's where this little pointy tool comes in handy. You just, actually I don't see it. Well, there's a couple there. You just poke it through and you'll get any extra bits out. And they're gone. Okay, so let's just get rid of those. Now, if you don't get a good cut when you're going through the first time, you can put your paper down, put your die down, and then this is just a piece of copy paper folded over. And it may vary on what you would need. But then put your top plate on, and they will tell you it's sometimes better. It's always better. See how that warps just a little bit? That's not going to hurt it. It's still going to cut fine. But if you run it through at a slight angle, it will be better for the die. And also, it may even cut better. So that's what I'm going to do this time. So here we go. Get ready to wobble again. And I'm doing it really slow so I don't shake you too much. Normally, I would just go at it and use all my muscles. Okay, so I know it just came off because of that crack. It just came off the other end. Now that will make sure, I hope, I'm telling you truly, that'll make sure with this detailed die, getting my little bits out as well as releasing it from the die so I don't tear it like I did last time. You see how pretty that comes out? I mean, most of the pieces have just fallen out with that little shim, and then you can just poke out what you need to. Now that'll work. But that's not the way I do it. So let's start again. And let me just show you how I do my die cutting. I'm just going to brush this out. And we'll brush it out over here so I don't have to swipe it off my surface. This die brush is awesome. I mean, there are other kinds. This is just the kind Stampin' Up! Has. But just anything to brush those out of there with this little pokey tool on the end in case one's missed. But that looks real good. Okay, so let's get rid of that. And now, let me show you how I do my die cutting always. You can get, and this one actually came from Michael's, it's a self-healing cutting mat. These will last so long. These will last forever. I have another one that I've used many times. Let me just show you what they look like after many uses. Now this is those great big pink mats that we use when we have our card parties. So I've used this one a lot. And then you just flip it over and use the other side when this side becomes really yucky. Okay? So that's the one I've been using because I like a longer, I have a longer base too, so I like a long base. So let's just put this down on the bottom. And now we only need one plate. And what I like to do is keep one that's not cut up. This one's never been used on bottom. It's only been used on top. You can see there's some scratches in it, but it's only been used on top. So there's not any deep cuts into it like there is on this one where we just cut this die out a couple of times. So I will do the same thing. I'll put down my piece of paper. And again, I'm putting at an angle just to keep the die from warping. Not that it'll hurt it. It'll still work. I just don't like to see it warp like that. If you put it at a slight angle. And I'm going to put down my cleaner top plate. And I'm still going to use my little piece of paper just because it makes it so much easier. Now it's still going to shake as I go through. And I do the same thing. I just go right back through, just because I don't want to put it through one end and pull it back the other. Not necessarily that it needs it, but I give it 2 chances to come out nicely. Okay, and I'll pull this off, and I'll pull this off. And we do the same thing. This not only knocks out the little pieces, it releases it from the die so that I don't tear it like I did with the first one. Oops. Okay, let me pull it out. I should be able to, yep, I can get under it there. Just pull it out. And that is pretty good and really not that hard. I mean, you can see there's just a tiniest few. If I just flick at them with my fingers, they come out. Even these intricate dies like this. So super, super easy to use. This thing will last forever. And when it does get to looking like this one, it's a self-healing cutting mat. Now I got this one. You can see it says Reflections right on it. I got both of these from Michael's, and then I just took a utility knife and cut it in half. This one's not very hard to cut at all. This one's really easy to cut, and then it fits perfectly right into the machine if you just cut it in half. Now, this one, if you have a long plate, still, you have to cut it a little less than in half, and you have to use a saw. I actually send my husband out to the garage, and he cuts this on one of his saws because a utility knife has a really hard time cutting this one. But when it gets looking like this, you get your heat tool and just get it hot and run over it. Now, believe it or not, this one is not new. This one has been used, and it looked just about like this one. But last night, one of my very good friends told me, because I used to just throw them away. Once they got looking like that other one, I would just throw them away. But if you take your heat tool and run it over, all these little bits of paper will kind of pop out, and these little seams will just go back together, and it'll work perfectly again. So again, you can use both sides, and then you can heal it. Now this is one that hasn't been used very much, and I haven't done anything with it. You can see I've used a few circle dies on it, but this one has been used, and it looked way beyond repair. But I took the heat tool and ran it over it last night, and all the little bits of paper just kind of, you could see the mat just melting together, and the little bits of paper just kind of, I could brush them away when I was done. So that is how I do all my die cutting. I absolutely always use one of these on bottom, and it is so much easier than trying to deal with these. It almost always has a good cut, and with these really delicate, intricate dies, you may need to use a piece of cereal box or something, but whatever works. I just need a piece of copy paper, folded in quarters, and I get perfect cuts every time. And these, I don't like them. So that is my tip on die cutting these. Please, if you're having any problems with these, let me know, and let me see if I can help you walk it through it. If you're having any problems with anything that you've gotten, let me know, and we'll see if we can't find a solution. Or if it is defective, we can get it replaced. So, tip of the day on the Ornate Layers dies. So, just a reminder, what you need: one of these self-healing cutting mats, a brush, you might need the pokey tool, but the brush for sure, and a piece of copy paper. And you'll get awesome die cuts with your with your intricate dies. And if you don't, let me know, and I would be glad to help you out, help you figure out something that will work for you. So hopefully I'll be back in the craft room soon creating stuff. I've been in a little slump lately, and I think it's because I've been doing so many other things, or maybe I just got too hot in the 90-degree weather. So I haven't got anything done except a little bit of cleaning up in here, but I hope to be back in here real soon and get some more card ideas out for you. And thank you so much for those who have called or emailed. I love hearing from you, and I think that was just the kick I needed to get back in the room and make something. I actually did make 2 cards today, so they were for my cousin's wedding that my aunts needed something for them. So hope to see you soon or hear from you soon. We may not see each other for a while, but stay safe, stay healthy, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye now. Oh, just one more thing. I love these dies, but this is what the floor looks like after you use them. I don't worry about hitting the trash. I've got a vacuum cleaner, so you might have a mess around, but I still love the dies, and I think they're beautiful. Bye now.